Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV, and hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. I am Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the Business Talk Show. And wow, do we have a doozy for you today. I am so excited about our team backstage. Let me bring out my co-host. I cannot say enough about this gentleman. As you know, if you watch our show, I think so highly of him. He literally is the voice at USA Global TV. He is our co-host. He is one of our expert presenters on Talking Heads, and he's an elevated listener. What this all means is you want to get to know Al CINI. He's the real deal. He listens authentically. He is there with his arms open to lift you up. He's an incredible human being, and he's inspired and helped me in so many ways. Let's bring him out on the program. Welcome, Al CINI.
Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, it's such a pleasure. And you know, you referred to me as a good listener because I've been through your program. Well, a little later on, in just a few minutes, we're going to be bringing out 2 second opinions on how good a listener I am.
Well, you graduated from the program, and I feel like our interaction, you are always listening. So maybe you picked up a couple of tips. That's good.
I might have picked up 1 or 2, but I lapse, I must say, and you'll be getting evidence of that in just a minute or 2 from our 2 guests. I'm excited about that too.
I'm excited as well. It feels like a reunion. So before we bring them out, Al, for people who are joining us for the first time, I'm going to spotlight you, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about your background with our audience. And then we have a clip that we're going to play, and we'll bring out our guests.
Great. Well, everybody, my name is Al CINI. This is episode number 83, I think, of the Business Talk Show. JACALYN KERBECK, and I'm honored to be here. It's always a lot of fun. My background is social psychology. I'm a co-developer of a program called the Brand and Culture Alignment Toolkit, which is a solution for teams that aligns the people on a team with the purpose they serve. And it's a fun program for us and for the people we serve, and we get great results from it. So thank you, Dr. JACALYN, for the opportunity to promote that. But what I'm really looking forward to is talking about this other project, The Advocates, with a couple of co-producers of mine, and they're coming out in a minute. And I guess you'll introduce them.
I think it's fabulous that we have a team of professionals here today. Everybody has been on the screen, has been interviewing people, and I think we all have this common thread that we love to support other people and hear their stories. And we give them an authentic place to do that, whether it's here at USA Global TV, if it's at RVN Television. We are all really in service to others.
That's really well said. And that whole, we talked a little bit, we only had a few minutes to go back and forth before the program. On our regular interview programs, we ask people how they do what they do. And that's a great conversation. How did I build my business? How do I manage and maintain my business? But when you get around to that, what is it about your business that you love? What is it about about what you do that makes a difference? You get a whole different level of energy out of people. And when we conceived the idea of the advocates, that's pretty much what we had in mind. Harnessing that energy that you get from people who are really committed, not just to making money, although that might be part of it, but also to really making a difference in the world and helping people who need help.
Yes, I completely agree. Al, how do you feel about us playing the clip now and then bringing out Lisa and Marty?
I think we should. That would be perfect, and then we'll bring out the guys.
Okay, fantastic. Let's take a look, folks, at the advocates. Fantastic. And I know there's a backstory to that clip.
There is. It should be related by Lisa MANYOKY when she comes out. Definitely, she'll tell you that.
All right, so let's bring out our two guests. As you mentioned, they are producers. They're also television hosts themselves, and you are all together over on RVN Television, which is where I met all of you. So that's why I said it's a reunion. And they are both entrepreneurs. Lisa was also a co-host here on this platform on the dating show. We had so much fun, so many laughs. And she's the founder of Presence Intelligence. Let's bring her out. Lisa, welcome.
Hey, it's like a reunion.
I know.
It is. Back together again after just a couple of hours. We did season 1, episode 2 this morning.
Yes. And the dating show was hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
So much fun.
That's another story. But we had
that program was sponsored by Pocket Fishermen.
Yes. Al, you were on there once.
Fish on a hook. Oh my goodness.
Al, I'm going to let you introduce Mark because you guys are partners together. So
we are. Mark and I, when I say co-developed brand and culture alignment toolkit, Mark is the guy I have in mind, and Mark's a little bit country and I'm a little bit rock and roll. So let's go ahead and bring him out.
Okay, welcome rock and roll.
I'm country. Oh my God. Jacqueline, when you said that Al was a great listener, I was wondering which Al you were talking about.
She obviously had me confused with somebody else.
Some other Alfred. Yeah.
All we need Joe Esamendi here, though.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Well, great to be with all of you. It is a reunion. It's a lot of fun. It seems like we should be breaking bread and having a glass of wine together or something.
I know, that would be great.
And we should just, now that COVID's over, let's arrange that. But before people forget the promo video that they just watched about the advocates, Lisa, the music comes from somebody you know.
I know. And I still feel like now that I've listened to that, I need to go run up the steps of Philly like Rocky. You know?
It gave me chills, Lise.
It does. So I said, gosh, we need a theme song. So I said to my son, who has a degree in popular music culture, I said, hey, buddy, we need 20 seconds of a song, and we need it to sound heroic and like a champion has just reached the podium. So that's what he came up with. And I mean, we worked really well together, which was kind of interesting. That was a first, where I was issuing some directives that were professional and not, clean your room. Mm-hmm. But he did a really great job. And given his music skill, he nailed it. And so far, the responses have been consistently like, I feel empowered. I feel like a champion. So it's very exciting for me that my son has been involved in this endeavor that's very important to me, and of course to Al, Mark, and anybody else who's going to participate.
Yeah. And, Lisa, knowing you, how many drafts did we have to go through before you finally approved the music?
Not that many. That was what was so remarkable is I said, wow, okay. Good. He really listened. He captured the spirit of it. And some of that comes, too, from being clear about the direction. I mean, I didn't leave it open. I said, this is specifically how we need to feel. And he did it. So
And
Hats off to Garrett.
he's a as we've talked about before we actually launched the Advocates, he's kind of a story too. I mean, one of the guests I think we're gonna meet have been people you've worked with.
What for?
Well, you mentioned that you've got a speech pathologist. I think I keep forgetting one of the guests that you've got lined up.
Dr. Treffert's the Treffert organization out in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Yeah, Garrett read before he talked, and which is called hyperlexia. So I could find his baby blocks all arranged like they were a Scrabble or a crossword puzzle. And my gut said, well, this is fascinating, but I don't know what to do with it. So he was brilliant, and he showed a very early predisposition and talent toward music. And at the time he was 3, I thought he had the TV on in his room playing the Rugrats theme, when it was in fact him at his little Casio keyboard playing it. So there was no shutting off the TV. So I was able to get a piano teacher to take him on when he was 5, which is very irregular because most of the teachers who I interviewed said there's no way that a 5-year-old will retain direction. And I said, this one will. Finally, somebody did. And he did piano. His piano teacher passed away when he was 10. Garrett was 10, not the teacher. He took a little break and discovered drums. And then he went to School of Rock until he aged out of the program and taught drums, went to college for music. And the kid is musically gifted. And he listens really well. So it was nice to have him participate in this way. It was in his wheelhouse, and he produced a great result.
I like that story because it kind of defines the whole idea of an advocate. I mean, where something like a school system will try to homogenize all the kids, treat them all alike.
Right.
An advocate is somebody that's going to see the differences in one person and work with those differences in a way that brings out the best in them. And,
well, what's interesting is I had read an article about hyperlexia, and the article was written by this gentleman, Dr. Darrell Treffert from Wisconsin. And I wrote the guy a letter to say, this is the most wonderfully clear, articulate description of this. It's a language disorder. It's a language style, and it looks like autism early on, but as language kicks in, all the symptoms disappear. And that's exactly what happened. This guy regards early reading as a super ability. And it turns out that he was the consultant for Rain Man. And he conducted this dialogue with me for a year and a half. And now he has this center in Wisconsin where he has a team. Dr. Treffert passed away a year and a half ago. And they're carrying on his legacy with kids who have special gifts and giving them a way to actually share them in a way that's comfortable. So...
And they're going to be a guest on the Advocates later this year.
Yes, one of his physicians who they have this room where they allow kids with developmental disabilities or autism to film and to communicate. You will hear all about it when the show comes up, but yeah, it's going to be pretty exceptional. That'll
be terrific. And then Marky, I don't know, I'm doing my co-host on the business show thing. But Marky, okay, listen, it's your turn. I don't know anybody who's more involved in different charitable activities than you. And when you can find the spare time to do it, you'll pick up a new one every chance you get. So what does the Advocates mean to you, and why is that important?
I'm trying to cut back, Al, on that, but it really is. It's about helping other people. And I was just before when you called earlier to tell me about Dr. JACALYN's show. I was talking to one of our volunteers from TDI Connect. Now, one of the things we do with that is we collect computers from all over the place, and from colleges, universities, businesses from throughout New Jersey and Pennsylvania. We refurbish them. We put a new operating system on the computer, and we give them out through 45 different nonprofits in New Jersey and Philadelphia. And it's not enough that we're just giving out computers. Honestly, there's a gigantic number of kids ages, second and third graders that are functionally illiterate. They cannot get to their second or third grade reading level. And once they get past third grade, they're now having a very, very difficult time learning, right? So by the time they're in 8th grade, the dropout rate for those students goes up to over just around 90%. So we're putting a literacy program together with these computers that we give out to these kids, and that's really what it's all about. It's about advocating for people that do not have an opportunity to advocate for themselves. They're working hard at school. They're dealing with their moms and dads or single parent families at home, and oftentimes their parents are not functionally literate, so they're dealing with that struggle as well. They also have tons of peer pressure, so that when they go out and if they learn how to read, a lot of times their friends are going to make fun of them because they're now the smart guy on the block. Believe it or not, that's happening. That does happen in inner city schools. So advocacy to me is really helping others. I've been a Rotarian since 1990, and Rotary, the Rotary motto is service above self. So what better way than to advocate and have advocates on our program that are helping others? And we had one on this morning that was, I mean, she doesn't like to use the word miracle, but Nancy Chirvolati was on this morning, and what a great story, right? I mean, Lisa Allen was.
That was, I mean, you know, that's the Kessler Foundation, and these are people that help people who are suffering from multiple sclerosis, traumatic brain injury, recover from horrific circumstances and move by using some of the programs that she's on the head of one of the scientific teams there. She doesn't like to use the word miracle because she understands what it is she does that makes the difference. She's a scientist. And over a period of sometimes years, they develop programs and interventions that help people with traumatic brain injury or stroke victims or MS to recover their lives and actually return to work. It's quite a story, and it was great talking with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
a good example of an advocate. And, you know, I also want to say that the three of us advocate for each other all the time. I mean, the basis for a partnership really is to work really hard at making sure that we're bringing out the best in each other whenever we can, to approach each other from a place of gratitude and acceptance and inspiration, you know, where we can. And I think people who run their companies that way get better results, honestly. And it's not just about being nice as a part of it, but being connected to a purpose that makes a difference, that you love, and loving the people that help you achieve that purpose. That, you know, I don't think we use the word love very often in the way that it was originally intended, that it was developed. It's a love of an idea, love of a concept. And that's really what glues an organization together. And that's what makes a partnership work, I think.
You know, if I can too, to build out the advocates, we're trying to build a group of people who are like-minded, that in a directory form where they're helping one another. You know, I use this example too often probably, but we have a gentleman that we're going to be interviewing, Rolf Specht. Rolf has just recently written a book called The Soul of Your Company. And inside one of the other folks that's going to join us, he's an author, Larry Robertson, wrote a book called Rebel Leadership. And Rebel Leadership is really about leading in difficult times or tumultuous times. And I can just say this parenthetically: for the last 2 decades, I think we've been in tumultuous times in this world, at least. And one of the things Larry said in his book, was that of the hundreds of leaders that he interviewed, soul was the most important thing that they talked about in business. The soul of who they were, the soul of what the business meant to them. And here, Rolf and Larry, we will have a chance to connect with one another. And Lisa's just done a remarkable job, Al and Dr. JACALYN, in putting the website together. So the Advocates is a program. It's not a show. It's about a bigger movement. It's about a bigger opportunity. And that's the exciting part about it. Interviewing guests is one thing, but helping people to change a life or two is really what we're looking for.
You mentioned living in tumultuous times. I just saw a cartoon. It cracked me up. A couple of aliens are watching a television set, and one of the aliens says to the other, "What are you watching?" And the second alien says, "I'm watching humans." And I can't believe it. They've just gone from a worldwide pandemic to World War III in one episode. Yeah, I mean, living in tumultuous times is definitely a good way to characterize it.
Yeah.
For sure. I love that, Mark, that you explained that it's more than a TV show. It's a movement. It's an initiative. And we're going to be sharing more. We're going to take a break and hear from some of our sponsors. So do stay with us, because these guys, they are just the best. I'm really so happy that you are here today and to be able to be part of spreading the word about what it is you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back.
Take a moment.
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 So I've had the privilege of photographing some incredible people over the years, and during each shoot I've asked the subject to close their eyes and take themselves to a peaceful place just for a few seconds. I've found that this really helps to refresh the energy between the camera and the subject. They had an energy that was quite special and quite different from the rest of the shoot. The collection grew, and now it feels the right time to use it for something good. I think it'd be amazing if we could help to raise awareness and involve people in the discussion about mental health. So what we're asking to do is for everyone to upload their own self-portraits. All of these portraits will become part of a massive artwork. I'm really excited to see this project go from hundreds of pictures to thousands of pictures. Essentially, an ever-evolving artwork that says we're all in this together.
Close your eyes and take a moment.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Меня зовут Маша, мне 9 лет, я живу в Красногоровке, у меня все хорошо. Кушать у нас есть, пить у нас есть, сахар у нас есть, все есть. Только дров не хватает. На буржуйке, когда у нас есть, вот эти мы дрова пособираем, закинем, оно горит. Например, в 10 запалили, в 11 закончили, вода нагрелась, еще и мы купаемся.
В наш дом 4 было прямых попаданий, так что мы боимся. Человека даже осколками поранило, забрали в больницу с 6-го подъезда соседа, так что мы тоже боимся, у нас много деток. Деваться нам некуда, нас никто нигде не ждет.
Когда вырасти, я хочу найти работу такую, чтобы я помогала людям, которые бедные, там.
purple squishy brain and a green one and a white one. And
Good for you. We got brains this morning from Nancy from the Kessler Foundation, because that's what she
Aw,
did.
nice.
And we needed them, so I'm glad we were able to pick those up. But Lisa, 10 years ago, and do you have that? You read this on our first episode.
In fact, and I realized that 10 years ago is when I had written this piece. However, it started sooner because my initiative was called Be the Virus Everybody Wants to Catch. But I don't think anything viral would be too popular right now. I don't care what virus it is. Nobody wants to catch one. So I had thought that if there were a directory of resources where people who had something to offer and those who needed it could find each other, similar to a matchmaking process. So I came up with this do-gooder directory. And I had a draft of it. And of course, that was before HIPAA and all privacy rules and regulations came into place. To me, it just seemed like a really nice thing. So I wrote that. And here's what it said, which laid the groundwork really for this initiative that has come to life now 10 years later. But originally it said, there are undiscovered, extraordinary, everyday people among us who are affecting lives in dramatic ways through their generosity, compassion, heartfulness, and drive. People who wake up every day infusing lives, neighborhoods, and communities with goodness because they can't imagine a day any other way. People who often assume overwhelming financial burdens to keep on keeping on because they're built to make a difference no matter how hard it gets. What if we could find as many of these people as we can and then help them do what they do better? That's my dream, to find these couriers of hope who have a seemingly endless inventory of sparkle and grit, but who might be short on tangible resources or people. Do I want to give them praise? Yes. To honor their efforts? Yes. To thank them? Absolutely. But especially to make them known so you and others get the chance to contribute in any way you can to make sure that what they're here to do gets done.
Wow. From 10 years ago. I mean, that is pretty. Yeah. What took you so long?
I just don't know. I think, well, in all fairness, I was raising kids, 3 kids on my own. And you mentioned, Al, that sometimes advocates are born, sometimes they're groomed by challenge. When a challenge comes our way, we can either sink and wallow in the downside of it, or we can say, this is an opportunity for me to experience sensations and feelings and meet people who I otherwise wouldn't had this challenge not come about. So I like to reflexively look to the upside, and the advocates is one way to spotlight people who are doing that, and then to give hope to people who need what they have so they don't feel so isolated, and that they can feel as though they have choices other than falling prey to feeling badly or hopeless.
Okay, Marky, how far out on Lisa's point, what if we could find these people? How are we doing on that subject? How far out are we booked?
Oh my gosh, we're out to the end. I think the end of August, beginning of September already.
We are.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is I was telling Lisa this morning, Al, that Dr. JACALYN, that I'd spoken to a woman the other day. Her name is Victoria Glover, and I met her through LinkedIn, and she's in Sydney, Australia. So I'll try to tell this story really quickly, but it's kind of a lengthy story. She's from Ghana. She wrote a book called What Does Style Have to Do with It? Right. So I thought she'd be right in line with Lisa and presence intelligence. And so I said to her, fast forward, I said, Victoria, what made you write this book? And she said to me, I had an accident and I was in bed. I was bedridden. I was paralyzed. I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. And basically, I had no will to live. I really wanted to kill myself. And I was sitting there, and finally I started to get some feeling in my lower extremities. So I was able to move. I was able to walk. I was in a wheelchair, but I was able to go to a psychiatrist and a psychologist, and started talking about my will or lack of will to live. And the woman said to me, to Victoria, she said, what is it that you love doing? She said, I love style. I love dressing myself and and I love styling other people. And she said, well, just do that. Even if you're in a wheelchair, you can still do it, which was the spark that she needed to live, number one. And number two, write this book, which has all kinds of business tips and acumen and style points in it. But here's the big turning point. She met the doctor who worked on her after her injury. And the doctor said, I had 5 minutes, Victoria, to decide whether or not I was going to save you or let you go and let you die. And she said, in that moment, I knew I wanted to save your life. And that was the point in time where she realized that her life had meaning and that she wanted to go out and advocate for others and make sure that others felt the power that she felt when these two women in her life advocated for her, one physically and one mentally. And she's walking. She's a great story. She's going to be on The Advocates. So they're the kind of people that are out there. That's one of many millions of stories, I'm sure. But that touched my heart so much so that I said, I'm going to send you the link right now. Please sign up. And I'm sure she's probably booked out in August or September. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people like that have been touched and have now touched others.
I just want to add to that, Dr. JACALYN. I think you've met your share of people who have stories like this. I know you and I have been working together now for 2 years, approaching
Yes.
2 years, and I've been involved in some of those people who related some of those stories. But that's your turn. You tell us, what do you think about all this?
Well, I think it's so important what you're doing because, again, we don't have to look far to find someone who has been through something really traumatic. I actually just interviewed someone for my book right before I met with you guys. She was run over by a truck 3 times, and just listening to her story, I just started tearing up, and she had the will to live because of her children. And now she advocates for families and how important it is. You may want to have her to join you guys, but I'll just share a quick personal story. So I have 3 autoimmune diseases, and I lived most of my life in shame because of ulcerative colitis, the dreaded bathroom disease. And long story short, in 2018, I met someone who said, I want you to work with the Crohn's Colitis Foundation. And I really didn't want to do that because I felt so ashamed. It was all about me, and my shame. And they gave me a reason to live. And now I'm doing this, and I'm dedicating this book to them because I want other people to see you can have a great quality of life, even if you have ulcerative colitis or one of these diseases. And now they're paying it forward. Young people, in their teens and in their 20s, they're going out and advocating for other people so that there's no stigma to having a dreaded bathroom disease. So it takes so many shapes and forms. And on this platform, on your platform, there's plenty of people with stories, right? We welcome them.
Yeah,
We encourage them.
And we don't want to stop at just an episode sharing stories. That's why we're extending this to the Advocates University, where we're looking to teach and to bring people to each other in person or virtually, whichever makes most sense. But the scope of this program is beyond an episode show. It's intended, for example, to maybe groom some of those individuals who have a gift to turn it into a business. I mean, all of us are entrepreneurial, and we have a set of business skills that we can teach in a heartbeat and with our eyes closed. So we can help them to have a voice and to put that voice where it needs to be heard in a really smart and compelling way. So this is, yes, a TV program. Yes, it is also a speaking opportunity. If an organization needs a burst of inspiration or encouragement or cheer, we can speak to that. And then finally, of course, in an educational capacity where we're going to actually teach people how to get that word out, which is really important. And in today's very noisy marketing world, it is essential to speak your passion and your mission clearly in a compelling way and in such a way that it cuts through the noise of the mediocrity of a billion websites or social media initiatives. It's got to be on point, and we will get them there.
That's the fun of it for me is that, if you'll pardon my French, this is the shit they don't teach you at Wharton. I don't know what it is they do teach you at Wharton, frankly. I know some Wharton graduates, and I wonder, but what really matters is exactly what matters. And hardly anybody ever comes out of school connected to anything other than maybe a degree. And that connection is, I think, what everybody wants.
I think that we've heard this enough over the last couple of years. The pandemic is just really has taken its toll on a lot of people mentally, just in business, in personal lives, in their family lives, and so on. And we just want to, I think the Advocates is a platform. I don't want to be too altruistic here, but I think it's a platform where we can start to spread cheer in the world. And hey, Lise, it started last week for Lent. I actually I told our sports analyst that I was actually going to be nice to him. So it's going to start right there. No, I'm just joking around. But listen, I think that's what a lot of people need these days is just a boost of some good spirits, some good positive vibes, for God's sakes. I mean, everybody's hearing all this nonsense that's going on around the world. And it does get you very angry. It gets you very upset, and a lot of people very depressed.
Sure. I mean, think about it. I stopped watching the news years ago because my position was for every 4 stories about a shooting, I wanted there to be 12 more about something good.
Yeah,
I don't want to watch the news and learn who died, who had an accident, who got stabbed. It was depressing. And all the sensational nonsense that went on when the world was divided politically. I got tired of it. So can good stuff overcome bad? Oh, yes, it can, but there has to be more of it. So this is an opportunity with widespread coverage, because we are prolific on social media, to get good words out there and turn people's head toward a better end instead of the latest horrible thing.
Yeah, I'm going to I know you're getting close to the end of the program, and Dr. JACALYN, you have another 300 or 400 broadcast hours left today. Being respectful of that, the media is really going in 2 directions. One bad direction is the total focus on the news media on terrible things that are happening all the time, as Lisa said. And the other is in the entertainment media, total focus on narcissistic, perfect lifestyles that imaginary people lead, that everybody becomes envious of, not realizing that those imaginary people, in fact, lead as miserable or even more miserable lives than anybody who's watching them. So if we can just get to a point where perfection isn't the goal anymore, and where tragedy doesn't hold us back every day, somewhere in the middle, you get the opportunity to work with 2 wonderful people like I have. That's these 2 people here on your 4-panel screen here, who believe that anything is possible. And in your life, you want to surround yourself every chance you get with people who believe that anything is possible, because that's where all the great things come from.
We love you, Fonzie. We love you.
Oh, come on. I'm never saying that stuff again. That's the end of it. But I really mean it.
We love you.
I really do. You guys are great.
Before we close out, I'm going to play a clip that I think you'll see anything really is possible. Let's take a look.
Great.
Єднуючи вас, святе подружжя, владою церкви Святої Православної, благословляючи м'я. І Ларисі життя мирне, довгі літа, непорушність любові, спокою.
Звичайно, я щаслива перш за все, тому що ми живі, цей день почався, мій чоловік живий, він зі мною, і ми вирішили, так порадилися і вирішили, що раптом що буде завтра, і ми хочемо скріпити наш шлюб перед державою і перед Богом. Так, у нас є доросла донька, і я думаю, що вона щаслива з цього нашого кроку.
Але всім серцем вона
Wow.
Pretty
Okay,
cool.
we have what we have for as long as we have, and really blessed are the people that come forth and use it, and do something with it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We've got another show. Mr. Al CINI's doing his first Talking Heads episode.
Yeah.
Not too much pressure.
A little bit.
But I'm going to spotlight each of you, and I'll start with Mark. Mark, can you let people know how to reach you and who you would like to contact you?
Well, for the advocates, it's easy, Dr. JACALYN. It's info@theadvocates.tv. And for, can I say for BCAT? Am I allowed to do that?
You can.
Okay.
Yes.
So for BCAT, which is the organization that Al and I run, BCAT Partners, it's mark.iorio@getbcat.com. And you can always call me on my cell. Just don't call me late at night. 609-577-4306. And if you forget that number, Al has it memorized.
Wait, I can't type that fast. 609. What is it?
577-4306.
Okay, fabulous. My team is on their lunch break. Yeah.
Great.
It's a joke. Okay, there it is.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Dr. JACALYN and Al. I really do appreciate it, and really looking forward to getting the word out about the advocates. It's a wonderful program.
Well, thank you so much for everything that you're doing, and thanks for being here today.
Pleasure.
And Ms. MANYOKY.
Yeah. Well, you heard it from Mark. info@theadvocates.tv, and our website is up and running, so you can reach us there, and it's www.theadvocates.tv. And then what I do professionally outside of that is Presence Intelligence, which is an initiative to help people understand what they put out there and to make sure that whatever they put out there is in line with what they're feeling inside, who they are, what they're built to do, what they're meant to do, and what they want to do, and then making sure that the world finds them. So that's Lisa at presenceintelligence.com.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much for that. I was able to get that up there. Yay. All right. Lisa and Mark, please come back and see us again. And congratulations. And I wish you all the best. And really, it's just so nice to see familiar faces.
Well, thanks for having us. We appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Dr. JACALYN.
Talk with you soon.
Al, we'll see you later.
I look forward to that. Thanks, Mark.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, thank you again for hosting this show with me and having our wonderful friends here today, your partners. It was really like a family reunion.
You are an advocate. It's a pleasure being here with you, because you live exactly the mission that we're trying to shine a light on. And we really haven't said enough about the stories you bring in all your broadcasts, all your stories, and some unbelievable turning points in people's lives. And your book, you've written a book, Adversity is Awesome. If that isn't a book about advocacy, I don't know what it is. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, thank you. The book, I actually have a picture of the cover, if I can find it. It is a group of stories from authors from around the world. The first chapter is my chapter about something that happened to me that I kept to myself. It happened many years ago. So I share that in the first chapter. And then each chapter is another author's own story in their own words. So that is available for pre-order right now. And you can buy the paperback on April the 4th. I wanted to say August the 4th because I need more time. No, I'm kidding. But you can go over you can go to Amazon right now and pre-order it. So
great.
Thank you so much. But I'm excited for the next show. Al, I want to spotlight you. And if you can share with our audience your role as a talking head and what they can expect to hear from you today.
Sure. Well, thank you, Dr. JACALYN. I appreciate that. And, I'm not exactly sure what's going to pop out of my head, but so I'm kind of a semi-prepared talking head. But what we're going to be talking about for 30 minutes is exactly what brand and cultural alignment means and how it makes a difference for groups, teams, organizations. And it does it by connecting to that sense of purpose that we were talking about, I think, in the interview when we were talking about the advocates. It talks about that sense of purpose that you feel every day, Dr. JACALYN, and what you do. And it justifies all the sacrifices sometimes that we have to make in order to make the difference in the world that we believe we were put here to make. And so that's going to be our 30 minutes is going to be about how do you work with a group of people to find the purpose that unites you and energizes you, and then how do you use that purpose to accomplish wonderful things.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to that. All right, Al, we're going to wrap up now, and I look forward to seeing you in the other studio.
Send me the link. I'll be there.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks, Dr. Jacqueline.
Thank you. I just love what I do, and I hope you're enjoying all of our programming. We have 20 shows approximately every week, and you can watch our shows in a number of places, but I recommend you go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com, or to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV. I also want to share a couple of other things. In addition to my role here as the founder and president and the executive producer at USA Global TV, I also have another side to me, which is my fact that I'm a certified life and career coach. I'm a certified meditation teacher and a certified yoga instructor. And I also teach people how to listen, as Al alluded to. And if you would like to learn elevated listening skills like Al has, contrary to what other people might say, please go over to our website, drjacalyn.com, and you can learn all about the courses that we offer. We actually have a program coming up for you to check out. It is next Tuesday, March 15th at 11, and that is The Power of Listening Part 4, The Transition, Facing the Shadows of Ourself. And this is about moving from a 3D world, which is based on ego and materialism and capitalism, into a 5D world where we lead with our heart. What do we do in between as we're making the transition? You'll find out from my co-facilitator, Madeline Chan, and myself. And again, I'd love to have you join us. You can go over to my website, drjacalyn.com. You can also join our elevated listening community and find out all that that offers. Okay, thank you so much. We are coming right back. So you stay where you are, and Al and I will run over to the other studio and be back for Talking Heads. Bye.